Speaks. Flock Nation Speaks. Flock Nation Speaks, your Baltimore Ravens podcast, where we talk about the best team in NFL history. If you're a Ravens fan, I am a huge Joe Flacco fan. Wise Usher once said, situations will arise in our lives. I'm talking about shut down. Like you not throwing on Jimmy Smith. Joe is criminally underrated. Lock him up in cuffs, criminally underrated. Lamar's put this team as a top 5 offense for the first time in 20 years. Got the arm talent. Jay Cutler had it too. I don't care about this argument against total TDs and all this. Oh, you want to talk about defense? Oh, until next time. All right, so it's a somber moment. All right, I've had a couple of days to process it, and I'm still not over it. The Ravens are out of the playoffs. The Ravens season is over, and I'm still hurting, okay? It's been a while. I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. It's been a while since I've been hurt by a result of a game like this one, and maybe it's just the fact of losing the same way over and over again. But anywho, we're going to get right into it. Welcome in to Flock Nation Speaks, your Baltimore Ravens podcast, where we talk about the best team in NFL history, even when it don't feel like it right now, if you're a Ravens fan, of course. And let's jump right into it, man. Let's jump right into this. I think even to this day, even still, right at this moment, I am speechless over the result of what happened on Sunday between the hours of 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. I still find myself speechless, right, by the continued and consistent display of ineptitude when it comes to the Ravens in a big game in the playoffs. Now, the caveat is the Ravens were the number 1 seed, right? Made it to their first AFC Championship game since, 2012? And you feel okay about that, right? You feel okay about that. But I think sometimes it hurts worse in how you lose, not necessarily the fact that you lost. Because you keep losing in the same ways, and I think that's what's frustrating. I think that's where the loss for words is, because it leaves you speechless thinking, how in the world do we continue to do the same things that cause us the same results and the same negative results on top of that? Because the Ravens could not find their way back even after the defense held the Kansas City Chiefs to scoreless in the second half, right? Like, it's crazy to think that this offense that we've seen so many strides from, that we've seen be consistent throughout this season, especially, and I mean, I can't even say consistently consistent, because they were kind of inconsistently consistent, if we're going to be honest about it, because they had their moments where they could not find anything. They couldn't find any sort of rhythm. They had no identity. They lacked any sort of kind of moxie, any sort of confidence in their game. And it's weird because we remember 2019. It's funny, we talked about how different this team is. We got talent that's going to get open. We got a different offensive coordinator. He going to stick to his guns. He going to stick to his game. He going to get people involved. We talked about this all year long. He going to get the people that need to be involved, right? He going to go with the hot hand. And ironically enough, Todd Monken did not go with the hot hand, right? Todd Monken instead decided to spread the ball around to receivers that weren't really getting open, right? Now, they were open at times here and there, but the protection wasn't great either. And sometimes Lamar missed whatever throw it was. So, there was problems in every level of this offense. But the biggest problem starts with the same reason that the biggest problem started to begin with, which is coaching, which is play calling. Because I really do. Here's my thing. I want to blame Lamar, right? For missing the throw to Bateman on the outside. I want to blame Lamar for throwing the interception in triple coverage. I want to blame Lamar for those things, right? But then I want to blame Zay Flowers for fumbling at the goal line when he could have literally just got down and we would have been at the 1. You give it to Gus Edwards, which in this game didn't seem like they were going to do, but you give it to Gus Edwards, that's a touchdown right there, right? Like, I want to be mad about that. I want to be frustrated about that. I want to be frustrated that the offensive line didn't really protect as well as they could have, right? I want to be mad about that. But then I think, how can the whole goal of coaching is to put a plan out there that your players have to execute. And I'm not saying the execution was perfect. But if your plan is the complete opposite of what you've done all year long, why am I to expect that the players will execute a bad plan? Because number one, you don't have an offensive line that's built to throw the ball down the field. You never have had an offensive line. You have an offensive line that is going to push people backwards. Not they ain't used to being, pulling back to pass block. So once again, it baffles me, right, that the Ravens are a top rushing team in this league, and every time they get in a big moment, and really it's every time they get down, even by 3, they panic and stop doing what got them to the dance to begin with. In this game, they was down early, and they was down not big early, but they was down by 10 early. But if they would have just ran the ball, Gus Edwards had already shown you it's right there for you. But as much as I want to blame Todd Monken for that, where is the leadership from the future Hall of Fame head coach, because we know this is going to happen, the future Hall of Fame head coach and Super Bowl winning head coach, John Harbaugh? Because remember earlier this season, I think it was after one of those losses, I said, it's crazy that it's so hard to trust a Super Bowl winning head coach. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? That it's so hard to trust a guy who's been there before, who's done that before, who's had success in this league, and who obviously has a winning pedigree. It's crazy that you can't trust that. And that's a whole nother discussion for another day on whether or not Harbaugh should be out of here. Right? Knee-jerk reaction? Absolutely. You can't keep losing in the same ways. You didn't run the ball last year against the Bengals. You didn't run the ball in 2019 against the Titans. You didn't run the ball. I don't think you ran the ball against the Bills when you lost to the Bills in 2021. And you didn't run the ball in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. Why? You are the best rushing team in the league. You are probably one of the best rushing teams in like a decade. And you won't lean into what you do. It don't make sense to me. It's crazy that we talk about how this team is always built on running game and defense, but then when they get in big playoff games, they abandon that, right? They abandon that. They abandon at least the run game portion of it. That's wild to me. But real quick, let's look into the stats. I don't even really care about the stats. I just want to bring this one up, and I know you guys have heard it time and time again over this week. 6 carries by the running backs. And the interesting part about that to me is, especially in Greg Roman's offense, I haven't done the math or anything, or at least tried to correlate an agenda together for the Todd Monken offense. But at least in Greg Roman's run first offense, I realized that the Ravens, to win games, needed to run the ball 30 times because that's how they was built, right? They needed to run the ball 30 times or more because that's how they was built. So yes, absolutely, running the ball 6 times in a playoff game ain't it. Ain't gonna do it for you. Ain't gonna win you a game. Ain't gonna do nothing for you. And it's just crazy. I mean, it's crazy to think, man, that time and time again we end up in this situation. Time and time again, and like it's funny because you want to say, well, I'm just a fan. What do I know, right? But if I can see it, I know the professionals that spend every single waking moment of their life on this stuff can see it. I know they can. I know they can. And I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy. I know we're all not crazy. I know the whole flock is not crazy over this, right? How are you running the ball 6 times? The Ravens are going to have to figure out who they want to be, right? And shout out to the Ravens Roundup crew over on Sip the Tally for mentioning this. And I wholeheartedly agree. You want to be a rushing team so bad, you're gonna have to get you a running back that there is no doubt in your mind you're gonna have to get a ball to, because there's too much money at stake. But then again, nothing was schemed up for Odell, and they paid him a lot of money either. So I don't even think it's the spending money thing that's gonna solve this problem. It's only one move you can make, and everybody knows what that move is. But anywho, I like I said, congrats to the Chiefs, I guess. Right. I'm frustrated by it because on paper, you are the better team, right? You have more talent. You have everything you ever needed to, and it was almost like they rolled out the red carpet for you because, for once it was the Ravens not dealing with the injuries that everybody else were and feeling like they was getting healthy at the right time. But that's for a whole another day. Let's real quick. Let's talk about this. And the only reason I want to talk about this tonight is because the way they the way they talking, okay, the way they talking, Mike McDonald might be on the move, right? The second-year coordinator. I don't think Todd Monken is on the move, right? And I think honestly, if we're gonna be honest with you, Sunday was not a good tryout for Todd Monken to show why he should be a head coach anywhere. But that's beside the point. Now, Mike McDonald, on the other hand, he had a heck of a tryout, holding the Kansas City Chiefs 17 points, and all of that just in one half. And when it was time to make adjustments and get some stops, his defense did exactly that. And we've seen what this defense is with Mike McDonald, especially once Roquan Smith came into the fold. Now, the report is potentially, because it's only 2 teams left, there's 2 teams that's got openings: the Seahawks and the Washington Commanders. Those are the 2 teams that's got head coach openings. And once again, I don't know what's taking so long. I really don't. I don't know what's taking so long, but I feel like Washington is going to hire Bieniemy. So I feel like Seattle would be the best bet on that one. I feel like Seattle would be the best bet if Mike McDonald's going to go be a head coach, right? I mean, you talking about a defensive-minded organization. You got it right there. That's a defensive-minded organization right there. So that's perfect for him. Plenty of talent on that defense. So it just and they also like to run the ball. They're very similar to the Ravens in that way. And he would be a good fit for that team. Now I don't want Mike McDonald to go. I really don't. I don't want Mike McDonald to go because I think he has shown that he can be a really good asset to this team, right? I think Ian Rappaport called him the Sean McVay of defense. Like he's shown that he's got a mind for this game. And of course, you'd love to see him potentially as head coach, but not for Seattle. You'd love to see it if they're gonna do an in-house hire. You'd love to see that that be him, and then he let the offense do what the offense does. But we'll see. We will see, because I mean, it seems like all things are pointing to that. But do I think, like I said before, I don't think Todd Monken's getting a job. Do I think Mike McDonald is? No, honestly, my true and honest opinion is I don't think so, right? I think he's going to do the same thing that everybody else did and give it one more go, give it one more go to potentially grab a title. That's that's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I know it's a little shorter of a show today, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Definitely hope you guys enjoyed the show. Fly Nation Speaks is on all major podcasting platforms, so be sure to check the show out. Take us with you, put your headphones in, and go get the listening. But we definitely hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button as well if you are on the YouTube front. So we'll see you guys on the next episode of Fly Nation Speaks. Until